Here, yes, and today we invite our speaker, David. He's the founder and CEO at Norris Portico. Welcome, David, and now we are ready to reveal the backstage to everyone to
Here,
showcase
yes,
everyone.
and today we
Okay, yeah, David, would you like to introduce yourself and your project to our Finance Live audience? Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So my name is David Carvalho. I am the founder of Knowledge Protocol. We are the first post-quantum infrastructure project to secure Web3 in the world. Very excited to be here today to increase the resilience for everybody.
Wow, David, thank you so much for the intro. We're also very glad to have you. I remember we have been scheduling this session for probably a week or two, right? And finally, we have you joining us today and introducing Norris Portico to us. And we're going to also dive deep into one of the most important topics in Web3 right now, talking about cybersecurity, right? So, David is the founder and CEO of Norris Portico, and today we have prepared a series of questions that we wanted to invite him to let us know about decentralized, well, cybersecurity, right? This is definitely something that's quite unique. And let's grab a drink, settle in, kick off with some serious alpha here. The first question we would like to ask David is Nars Protocol calls itself a decentralized post quantum infrastructure. Could you break down that for us and why now is an important time to build a decentralized post quantum infrastructure? Also, if you could use some simpler terms to let us know what exactly that is, it would be great
Sure.
because I believe most of our audience are quite new to this. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for the question. So basically, the principle is that all blockchains with their current cryptography, blockchains are driven by cryptography. That's why they're called crypto. They are not ready for quantum computers. However, quantum computers are already here. So if we don't make all blockchains ready for quantum computers are going to break their cryptography, which means that your private keys, your transactions, your chains are not going to be safe. And it's not like traditional hacking. It's actually something that can actually destroy the whole backbone of the infrastructure. So from consensus mechanisms to transactions. Obviously, this is very bad. So our objective was to solve this problem. And we have been working with a number of universities and also defense organizations. And we have brought a number of, let's say, even NATO generals to the team because this is a global issue. It's not just affecting blockchains, it's affecting all computing in the world. And we have also brought a number of very interesting people, like people that have actually are fundamental people that created the internet. Former Microsoft presidents and others to the project to actually support this endeavor. So Knowledge Protocol, when you talk about post-quantum infrastructure, it's about like really leveling up the current infrastructure, be it Web3 or Web2. So it's kind of like a fundamental technology. Like I say, it's in the backbone of everything that exists in Web3. It's cryptography. And so it's an infrastructure for digital trust that's designed for a world that's decentralizing everything. So we're decentralizing money, identity, power, and we need to secure the systems that underline all of this. These are systems that are extremely important, not just for Web3, but for the society we have. So it's the same cryptographic principle that actually underpins all of it. Blockchains, devices, AI, all of these needs to be, how can I say, in a trusted state moving forward. So Knowledge Protocol is kind of like a decentralized trust enforcement mechanism with post-quantum fingerprints. And what does that mean? It means that these are, proofs of trust and state for everything using quantum technology. So we turn these devices, AI systems, blockchains, and infrastructure into post-quantum secure, self-validating defenders of the networks they're part of. So normally, the more systems that are in a network, the more the weaker it is. So the more entry points there are, And what we do is we pretty much flip that. So we're building a global immune system for the digital world, one that protects everybody, not just the powerful people.
Got it. Thank you so much, David, for breaking down the details regarding decentralized post-quantum infrastructure to us. And I see that we got more and more audience joining us. I also see a lot of friends, yeah, post over here on Binance side, right? Like typing Norris Protocol, and people are also saying to the moon, right? Thank you everyone for joining us. Be sure to follow Norse Protocol on X so you will get additional information from them. And this is definitely really important, right? Because Norse Protocol are flipping the cybersecurity model on its head and, well, removing the central point, right? And so we are going to be able to protect our asset with their technology. This is just amazing. And David, we're seeing increasing hacks in both Web 2 and Web 3, right? Especially this cycle. Oh my, a lot of big cybersecurity events. For example, certain exchanges, right? Or other projects like PayFi, right? They have lost a lot of cryptos. So why are existing cybersecurity models failing, and how is Norris structurally different? Thank you.
Yeah. So what Norris does is that it creates digital resilience for everybody, and that's really what's missing because all the Web3 projects and environments are still running from centralized systems. So they're still running from servers and things on the cloud and validators that are centralized themselves, and there is no capability to prove right now that they are trusted, that any of these points are trusted. That's why we call them single points of failure, because from each one of them, you can actually start potentially an attack to an exchange or a layer or whatever, right? So all these things should be decentralized as well. So that's what we call our sub-zero layer, which is a layer that is an infrastructure layer of Web3 that decentralizes Web2 that is serving Web3. So in other words, the moment is now because the risks are no longer theoretical. Like there are direct cyber risks that are the ones that lead to hacks, and then there are cyber risks that are, risks to the backbone or the foundation of blockchains, and those are cryptographic risks. So that's why we, created the technology that's resistant to quantum computing, because this is not optional. This is something that all blockchains will need to adapt to and to adopt into the future. The same for bridges and exchanges and other devices and AI, etc. So now we're seeing quantum computer, AI-driven attacks, increasing complexity of Web3 systems, and these are converging. So we don't really have the luxury of waiting, and I think we could see that yesterday, and I think in many other hacks. The world is digitizing faster than it is actually securing itself. So what we're building isn't just protection, it's actually digital resilience for everybody. The current models fail generally. That leads to the hacks that we know about generally, because they are centralized. They are reactive and they are exclusionary. So each device is kind of like its own bubble, and it's not part of a mesh of communication and validation. And what we're doing is we're creating that for infrastructure. And infrastructure, as you know, supports everything and all services. So they protect the few and leave the many exposed currently. So in Web3, this means, billion-dollar protocols get breached, massive exchanges get breached, potentially retail wallets get drained, and the damage spreads like fire. And it affects like people's, belief in a technology that is a fundamental technology for society. I really believe in this, and that's going to bring a lot of very good things to people. So in order to mitigate this, we have structured the foundation of Notch Protocol so that any protocol can actually use us. They can focus in what they have been doing, which is scalability and speed, and we can deal with the third part of the trilemma, right, which is security. And we can do it from the transaction level as a meta layer all the way to the infrastructure layer. So the objective is to create an inclusive, distributed, cyber trust global ecosystem, kind of like a hive mind of trust and resilience, where every device, validator, or protocol becomes part of a collective defensive fabric, where compromise is detected in one, for example, by all and isolated automatically, not days later or months after the damage, or the damage happens and we don't even know what happened because these are all centralized systems that can be hacked independently. So the objective is to secure today the gate that fails in silence, which is security, so that we can build, the living mesh of security that the world needs to defend itself and heal itself together, like in a Web3 context, democratizing it. We're not just decentralizing security; we're democratizing it for everybody.
Wow, that is really nice. Thank you so much, David, for letting us know about that. And well, everyone, this one really hits home, right? Because whether we have a lot of assets or we are, well, maybe not well, right? Or maybe not a big project, maybe not a huge exchange, right? But we are all very careful about our assets, and both in Web 2 as well Web 3, right? So with Norris focus on these cybersecurity, right? This is really, really important for everyone to once again paying attention to the topic. And everyone, once again, I wanted to let everyone know that be sure to give Norris Protocol a follow on X, because I wanted to say that right now there are not many projects, right? Like really paying attention to cybersecurity. But this is super, super important for us on a daily basis. So even though, well, we might not see many other projects doing this, this is the fundamental, right? Protecting our assets, both in Web 2 and Web 3. And David, what David shared is super, super important. Okay. Now we are going to invite David to answer the third discussion topic over here. Why Norris Portal decide to build a decentralized cybersecurity layer as a blockchain rather than an off-chain service or as a SaaS product? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, what we do is really, we don't sell protection. We build a protocol where trust leads to protection and is baked into the system. So it's open to all, it's owned by nobody, and everyone participates and validates and it achieves trust over everything else together, right? So in a trustless world, I believe security should be trustless as well. And that's not what happens in a SaaS tool or in a centralized device or environment, because that just kind of like would continue the same single point of failure issue that we have right now. So even when we analyze these, with the number of former NATO leaders that actually, had the idea for the project together with myself, including the former chief of intelligence of NATO at the time, in order to create resilience for infrastructure, critical infrastructure, government, technology, and even defense areas, we realized that what we are protecting is a collection of centralized systems, and the biggest issue with them is that they are centralized. And these systems are supporting blockchains, they are supporting, cloud systems, they're supporting companies, even countries. So, it could be from that to your wallet or an entire DeFi protocol, for example. So all of these needs public, transparent, verifiable, tamper-proof post-quantum fingerprints that prove that they are in a good state as they operate. So in other words, let's say if your wallet is tampered with locally, because your wallet is still a central point of failure, for example, you don't want to use it, right? And you want the whole chain to tell you that that is no longer trusted, right? So this is really transformational if you think about it. It's really powerful to actually, for the first time, know under a very resilient cryptographic principle that there is trust over what you're seeing, there is trust around the truth you're seeing, right? So Currently, SaaS tools are black boxes, so all centralized tools for security are generally black boxes. APIs can be corrupted, certificates can be faked. So we have created a number of technologies together with various universities that we have actually peer-reviewed papers for on our webpage in both sides of the Atlantic, mainly around Europe and US, on creating decentralized certificate authorities, decentralized identity validation authorities, and other fundamental technologies that allow for knowledge protocol to exist. I think the reason why Moonlight was mentioning that there isn't a lot of protocols doing this, even though, or there isn't a lot of projects doing this in general, it's not because it's needed, because this is always needed. Security is needed all the time. You do everything. It's because it's probably the hardest area to tackle, and it's actually the hardest area to tackle even in Web 2. So we're very proud of what we have achieved together with all these universities and supranational institutions, including the IEEE Foundation, for which we have created a peer-reviewed paper about bringing quantum to blockchains, which is the biggest engineering group in the world. A decentralized protocol like ours that proves security through cryptographic consensus, I believe that's universal and unstoppable. So as people join it, there is no way they can be stopped. There's no way they can be deplatformed. They just add to the resilience of everything they participate on, or that this gets integrated with through SDKs, or developers can integrate it, or we can integrate it into other exchanges or into protocols. So we're all very excited about it.
Wow, this is really unique. Thank you so much, Davey, for letting us know about that. Building decentralized cybersecurity layer as a blockchain. And friends, once again, I have to say, we probably haven't heard about this, right? David, do you know any other protocol are also doing this? Because we have been interviewing so many projects on Binance side. And honestly, Naurus protocol is so different. You are, the first thing that we interview, we're talking about building this as decentralized cybersecurity layer as a blockchain, right? Others are different from others, right?
Yeah, I mean, my background, honestly, this all came from the fact that, I've been global chief of security for a number of very large multi-billion-dollar companies in Europe and also in the UK around critical infrastructure and other areas. But I was also involved in Web3, as a researcher and as a cybersecurity researcher and as a miner since 2009. And it was obvious to me as a person that's in the space, and it's also very deep into security, even with countries on cyber war, cyber terrorism, cyber espionage, and other areas, that these and mitigation around these and data protection legislation and privacy, that this was something that all my peers were talking about. They were just seeing it from a centralized perspective, and it was very obvious to me that what we needed to change was to take away the centralization so that we could have mitigate kind of like future threats through using like these participatory security principle, where everybody is part of like an army instead of just being alone, which is really what happens right now.
Got it. Wow. And I feel like today we are kind of like joining a cybersecurity 101 lesson, right? Learning with David, the CEO from Naurus Protocol. So, Naurus Protocol is about turning every device into a cyber trusted validator. So what does that look like in practice? Also, David, since this is a video AMA session, if you wanted to share screen and then show it to our audience, feel free to do that so everyone could take a look and watch how we could do it to make our device also become a cyber trusted validator. What does that look like in practice, and how do you prevent that from becoming a vulnerability itself? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wish I had the video ready. In fact, we participated in some of the biggest accelerators and incubators of technology in the world, and we participated in the biggest one in telecommunications as well in the world, hosted by T-Mobile in Germany, in Bonn. and we ended up being one of the winners there. This was kind of like a 2-year process. And we actually made, there's a video representing this, but we made a bunch of devices into nodes. So there was a drone, there was a 5G router, and a 5G antenna, servers on the cloud, a robotic arm, and many other parts, laptops, phones, and all of them were part of what we call a decentralized cybersecurity mesh, okay, which is kind of like a blockchain hyperstructure of systems that are doing different things, right? But what they did is they became part of a blockchain of security. So they actually started protecting each other. And as we, for example, attacked one of them, all the others actually ended up proving that that one was not good and defending it, right? Or stopping it from, infecting others. And that is actually a video that I would love to show you, but I don't have it ready here. Currently, one of the use cases that we have made public to the community is exactly what you have shared, which is turning every device into a cyber trusted validator that shares, risk intelligence and threat intelligence through the blockchain, through post-quantum transactions with every other. So right now we are running our, let's say, we call it a testnet, but it's way more than a testnet. It's actually the biggest infrastructure ever made on a Web3 perspective by, from centralized systems. With we have more than 2 million wallets there only in 2 months, from 0 to 2 million, with more than 800,000 nodes, and we have done more than 90 million post-quantum transactions. And we have mitigated close to 500 million threats on just this specific use case, which is actually a browser node that you can, download, and you'll be part of this mesh, which is one of our, it's our first use case. We have another 30 use cases that we're going to make public slowly. But what it does is, as you browse the internet and you go to websites, it scans the code of the website, and it'll actually find if there's like malicious scripts that are de-anonymizing you or stealing your crypto information or your credit card information, or distributing malware or phishing or something, and then it blacklists that and shares that with everyone else that is part of that kind of like hive mind that's participating on the chain. And that's the first time that has been done. So that's really exciting. But answering your question directly, it means, and by the way, you guys can see that on our website. You can go there, you can see the numbers, you can see the graphs, the growth graphs, you can participate on this if you want. So it means that the tools that, of everyday people, like laptops, nodes, or mobile wallets, or even like VPSs or servers, they can actively participate in securing Web3 by providing proof that they are clean, that they are not tampered with, and that they are behaving properly or following a certain standard. This is the first time that that's possible. And if you think about it, it is really powerful because it allows us to create an ecosystem where everything that is actually doing something is proving that it is in a good state, right? In order to do that. So it creates an ecosystem where each part supports the whole, instead of each part fending for itself, which is currently the situation. So here's the beauty of it as I see it. Devices don't share secrets, they share proofs. They share post-quantum mathematical proofs. Encrypted attestations, no data movement, just mathematics. This proves that they are, both, their privacy and their protection and integrity is being, maintained. And we don't want users to just use Web3. We want them to help secure it automatically and safely, and even bring Web3, just like we have done with our quote-unquote testnet, into the real world, because these were all centralized devices. They're all like laptops and phones that people have installed our nodes on, that now became part of a decentralized infrastructure of trust and intelligence sharing about risks, and all of them benefit together, right? So we're removing risks that nobody else could reach in a centralized way. It's not possible, by making this, security principle participatory, right? Everybody's part of it. It's unstoppable, and they cannot be deplatformed unless they want to.
Got it. And well, as everyone could see right now, we are sharing the Binance Live front page, right? Because Binance Live has been supporting this AMA session by putting it to the front page. And we are also going to change. Yeah, I'm going to show Norris Protocol's website over here since we're talking about it. So everyone, be sure to go there. Okay, be sure to go there. And I'm going to accept all over here. Oh, and you got the public sale countdown
Oh yeah,
clock. Do you mind
yeah.
to let us know about the public sale? What is that about, and how are we going to participate? Thank you.
Sure. Actually, we had a whitelisting already happening, and people can that were part of that whitelisting can already do KYC. But don't worry, if you didn't do that, you can still participate in the public sale. The public sale is in 4 days. It just means that you need to do the KYC as you participate. In 4 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 22 seconds. So just keep that in your mind from a calendar perspective. Now, if you don't mind, Moonlight, if you go down in this webpage, you will see some of the things that I was talking to you about. So this is the growth that we had on our network just in 2 months. We
Wow.
had 2.1 million wallets, 830,000 security nodes, and 343 million threats mitigated across the infrastructure by everybody for everybody, right? And we have done more than 65 million post-quantum transactions, which is the first time that the blockchain is actually doing this. We are the first blockchain in operation using this kind of like, military level technology for, the future of protection of all blockchains. And it's currently in full operation right now with all these transactions made. If you click there, or actually if you go more down, you can see the growth graphs of the network and so on in the page if you just scroll more down, so the users can take a look at that. Also, there is a little button that says below what it says post-quantum transactions on the left, it says go to Explorer. And if you go there, you could actually see post-quantum transactions, which are, we're talking about like hashes that are, 5 pages long instead of being just a little line, right? And those are post-quantum transactions. If you ever never seen them, I suggest you go there and check it. So if you click the button where it says accept all, behind it you will see other things. So if you go a bit down on the left side, you have all these transactions. So if you
Ah,
click, for example, one of these white numbers and letters on the left, yeah, one of
click
those,
on that. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
that
a
is
lot
a
of
that's a
hash.
post-quantum hash of a
Ah,
transaction. So if you keep scrolling it, you
this
can
is really
see,
long. Oh my.
yeah, and then below it there is a normal one, right?
Ah, right.
And so this is the next level of cryptography that all blockchains need to adopt in order to be resilient into the future, so that quantum computers cannot break your wallets, cannot break your transactions, and cannot break your infrastructure.
This is amazing. Everyone, we're learning something new about it. Usually, just like David says, right, the hash that we see is quite short. But this one, Norris Protocol's post quantum hash is super, super long. Oh my. What's the difference between the long one and the short one?
So a post-quantum hash just means that it's resistant to traditional computers and to quantum computers as well. So it's using a completely different mathematical structure that quantum computers are very bad at dealing with, and that traditional computers have no hope of ever dealing with. So let's say, right now, a quantum chip can do calculations that break traditional cryptography quite easily. So a quantum computer can, for example, do a calculation that all the computing power on Earth together would take like a septillion years to do in like a minute, right? And that's really bad because all cryptography that we have is based on mathematics, and quantum computers it's called elliptic curve cryptography, basically, technically. But quantum computers are really good at breaking that. So they are just giant, powerful mathematics, calculators that can actually break this. So we had to use another capability that was resistant to quantum computers. So quantum computers, or quantum safe, quantum resistant, quantum safe, and it's the same thing. So that quantum computers cannot break our blockchain or the blockchains that integrate with us into the future, which is what we want, right? If you have crypto assets, if you're running a bridge, if you're running a DEX, if you're running a centralized exchange or any other thing of value, you should have this kind of cryptography protecting your data, encrypting your data, and supporting your infrastructure and signing your transactions so that they cannot be taken over, right, by a quantum computer. Not only could that happen as soon as quantum computers are good enough, which will probably happen in the next, it could be heard earlier, but in the next 3 to 5 years. But it will, right now, all your keys, all your transactions, your everything you're doing, like your wallets, they are being harvested right now by adversaries, hackers, countries that will have the capability with the quantum computer in the future to grab that stuff that they capture, that they're keeping on the hard drives, and derive your private key. In other words, they will know your seed phrase. They will know really everything that they need to take over all your assets if they want to. And in order to mitigate yourself, to mitigate this risk for yourself, you will need to be what's called quantum safe or post-quantum right now with this sort of approach. This has been really, really hard to do. We have spent years in research doing this. And this was actually the vision of, from a NATO defense general to actually use this technology to protect the real world. So, nuclear power stations, military assets, government technology, even. We're just using it on blockchains right now.
Wow, this is definitely really important, right? And thank you so much, David, for letting us know about it. Friends, I highly recommend everyone to go to Nars Protocol's website. Well, because you could see a lot of these information, right? What David guided us to find the post-quantum hash. You just go to the recent transactions and click on any one of these white wallet addresses, and then you could see that. And you can also go to this one, right? Go to the front page of Nars Protocol, and then you are going to see a public sale counting down clock. Then they are going to start it in 4 days. So if you are going to start on May 20th at 8 a.m. UTC. So if you have whitelist or not, right, you can always participate over here starting May 20th. Don't miss that. And lots of, wow, those are definitely really good numbers. So friends, previously we just go to the Explorer, right, to exploring about it. This is just amazing. Thank you. And David, let's also talk about the future, since that it seems like Nars Protocol is well prepared, right? And you have built these amazing decentralized quantum cyber, post-quantum infrastructure, right? Very, very amazingly. And so how about the long-term goal? If we fast forward 5 years, what does the world look like? If Nars Protocol success, and then to change all the traditional cybersecurity protection, right, becomes to like a decentralized cybersecurity layer, like a blockchain. How would you envision the future for about 5 years? Thank you.
Yeah. So actually, as we talk to countries leaders and big telecommunication companies and IBM and other companies that are partners of ours, it's not just obvious to us. They understand that this is coming. Like Web3 is coming, quantum is coming for the world. Like everything is going to be Web3. Everything is going to be quantum. Everything is going to be AI, right? All these things, right? And fundamentally, in all of these, what you need is safety, is security. And of course, quantum is part of that, and Web3 needs it as its backbone anyway. So if now it succeeds, the internet doesn't just survive the future. Web3 becomes the baseline for the future of the internet. Like if you look, like for example, at how Google and Microsoft talk about, say, Web 4. Web 4, they talk about it as a decentralized, quantum-driven internet with always on AI and et cetera, et cetera. So all these things are coming. They're fundamental. and we're building the base for it. So we believe that if we succeed, and this is very close to my heart, digital trust becomes a public good, right? It's not a privilege. Every chain, DApp, device would be post-quantum resilient, self-healing, self-defending, universally transparent and verifiable. And the Web3 world would become not just decentralized, it would be dependably secured for everyone, and it would become the backbone for all the world. So in other words, there would be no reason for you to build any infrastructure, it doesn't matter if it's a cloud system or a banking application, without having this backbone, right? Why wouldn't you have, exponential resilience, right? It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, I don't want my Telegram messages to be unencrypted. Like, it doesn't make sense. You want them encrypted. It's that same principle of resilience. So this would just mean directly and immediately, many fewer breaches, more user confidence, an open digital society where even the smallest participants, people in general, are protected by the strength of the whole, by the power of post-quantum cryptography under consensus of the whole, right? Of like a decentralized global hive mind of trust enforcement, right? Of resilience creation. So this would be sustainable safety, sustainable security for the future. It's the kind of upgrade that the internet needs to have, and it should have from the beginning, actually. We have in our team, David Holtzman is one of the creators of the internet as we know it. He architected the DNS protocol. He actually ran the internet globally until the year 2000. And this is something that he believes should have been in the backbone of the internet since the beginning, but it was not really possible then. But right now, it's just possible.
Got it. Wow. So, make I think that Norris protocol is kind of like several steps ahead of a lot of projects and ahead of a lot of us, right? A lot of users. So definitely super amazing. Friends, if you haven't given Norris protocol a follow, be sure to do that, because we definitely wanted to have a safer environment, right? Safer blockchains and more resilient devices, and maybe even a world where that hackers, they don't have any chances again, right? Maybe it's a big dream, but honestly, this is definitely super inspiring. Thank you, David. And now let's start to take some questions from the audience, because we still got some time, right? And we have been pushing this AMA session across communities, and we receive different feedback or questions across platforms, from Telegram, from our Discord server, and also from X Twitter, as well as from Binance Live. So people are wondering, since that David previous you mentioned Norse protocol is actually also kind of like a blockchain, right? Are you like, can we categorize Norse protocol as layer one or layer two? And
Mhm.
are you integrating with any other existing public chains? Thank you.
Yeah. So we are currently EVM compatible. We are a custom PBFT environment that's EVM compatible. We can also work with non-EVM. It's just a longer integration. So it's interesting you mentioned that. So I mentioned two things, and I want that to be clear. One is the transaction space and the cryptographic space, right, where we use the post-quantum transaction model to uplift existing chains without them needing kind of like hard forks and stuff like that. So we can take care of the security side, and then all of that is underpinned by infrastructure, which currently is centralized, right? So we decentralize that infrastructure itself, and that's what we call our sub-zero layer, right? The sub-zero layer takes care of the infrastructure. It uses Web3 infrastructure on top of that infrastructure, making it decentralized and ensuring that it's in a trusted state as it operates. And it serves whatever it's serving. From a Web3 perspective, could be a DeFi, could be whatever. And then from a perspective of, how can I say, the layers themselves. So we, as the only post-quantum layer in Web3, we have kind of like a meta. We add a little bit of a meta layer. So our protocol is made to work with layer zeros, layer ones, layer twos. So we are a little bit of a meta layer. We are there. We observe everything that's happening, and then we can also roll up transactions if needed to make them post-quantum. So we operate as a layer one when needed. We operate as a layer two when needed, as layer three when needed, and that goes all the way from the infrastructure to the cryptography. We ourselves have, of course, our own chain supporting this, which is a chain that is working, at an infrastructure perspective beside existing processes. It's not competing with them. And then from a transaction perspective, we have the capability to make the transactions that occur much more resilient. So the approach that we have, that we actually call, let's say, a meta approach, or meta layer. Let me see, how can I talk about this overlay? Think of Nauris as kind of really kind of like an overlay. Okay. If we don't talk about the sub-zero layer, which is just pure infrastructure, which is the last thing that hasn't been decentralized yet, right? All blockchains right now operate kind of like in the atmosphere, but really they are being run from centralized systems in the cloud, right? If, for example, if say, Amazon didn't want Ethereum nodes anymore, Ethereum probably would have a massive crash, right? Because everything is running centrally on this cloud, and you don't know if they are trusted. You don't know if they've been hacked. These validators have been hacked. You don't know if they are following any sort of standards, or if their passwords are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all these things actually need to be assured, and that's what's achieved on the infrastructure side with the Knowledge Protocol sub-zero layer. From a perspective of transactions, Knowledge Protocol should be seen kind of like as an overlay or a meta layer, let's say, running alongside existing blockchains. It doesn't alter their underlying protocols, no consensus changings, no hard forks. It doesn't behave like a typical L2 or L1 either. We can behave like an L1 or an L2 if we need to. In our side, we are basically an L1, but we provide these services at, transversally across, from, L0 to L3 as a meta layer. So instead, we observe, we manage the security logic around the chain without forcing these structural modifications. So the objective is that the other chains really focus on the two sides of the trilemma, the blockchain trilemma, which are speed and scalability, which is the ones that everybody's been focusing on because security is so much harder. While we can actually do that, and they can offload security to Norris. So projects can prioritize performance and user growth and things like that without worrying about quantum threats and and with infrastructure centralization or infrastructure security. So we take the heavy lifting from that on that side, so that they can build faster, safer, and more efficiently.
Got it. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. And great questions, everyone. Yeah, feel free to keep the questions to come. And the next one, people are asking, well, when I showcase the website, right, it shows the North Protocol Blockchain Explorer testnet. Yeah, this page. So we got audience asking, when will the mainnet be launched? Is there a timeline? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, because this is normally when you have a testnet on a chain, you're talking about like, okay, you go in, you do some chain operations, maybe do some swaps, you mint an NFT or something. So that part is already done. We're calling it a testnet as an abuse of language. This is really kind of like a pre-mainnet, if you want to call it that, because we're already using our chain fully here. And it's probably not going to change much. While right now, and our token is going to exist on the Ethereum mainnet and in other spaces, it's also going to exist in our chain. We're looking to go fully mainnet, like with not just this use case, but many others, in somewhere around quarter 3, hopefully early quarter 3. But yeah, that's currently the objective. And so we're going to be making more tools and capabilities in a decentralized way available to the public. As I mentioned, The one that you're looking at in the screen is one of around 30 that we actually made public. So we have a lot in our pocket, and we're very excited to bring you guys in. And of course, you'll be able to use the Norris tokens that are part of the ecosystem that we have to actually stake and participate on these and be kind of like lifetime owners of that capability or license, let's say, to use these capabilities forever. Not just these, but the other capabilities that we'll be bringing that are very exciting, are around wallets, are around VPNs, all in the quantum side. I'm very excited about that. I can't talk too much about it for now.
Well noted. Thank you. And it also shows that our Binance audience does paying attention, right, to what we are sharing on the screen over here. And the next is previously, David, you mentioned about the public sale, right? And you also talk about whitelist spot. Well, do you mind to share more details regarding the public sale? For example, um, what is that about? Is that getting tokens and about a token economy for things like that? If you could share more
Sure, sure.
regarding it, thank you.
So we have raised a decent amount of capital until now. We want to provide, as much opportunity to the community that is part of our testnet, quote quote, or part of the Web3 community at large, to own a piece of knowledge protocol future and to participate there. So obviously there is a massive market need. Quantum computing is known; it will disrupt all traditional cryptography. Knowledge protocol is at the front line defense. Everybody understands that. So people see that as we want to give the opportunity for people to participate in this future as being an owner of knowledge tokens. That will then be driving the ecosystem and providing the real world validation that we need, on top of all the things that I mentioned. The upside potential is interesting, obviously, because we are a very unusual approach to a blockchain layer. We are infrastructure, and at the same time, we apply to the various meta layers or the layer numbers. And we have our own layer that supports that, which is a unique post-quantum cryptographically enabled layer at orders of magnitude more resilient cryptographically than anything that existed until now. So if we look at being part of how can I say, this layer one of trust, let's say, and its real world extensions that we're creating, I would say, because they are inevitable, it's probably a good opportunity for people to come in and do that. As part of our token economy, that's going to be a substantial chunk of it that we're dedicating to the community. So it would be our pleasure for you to come in, join, participate, and join us as we stand ready for this $1 trillion revolution that we're underpinning.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing more details with us, David. And friends, once again, pay attention to Norris Protocol's official X handle or go to their website, and then you can find the countdown clock, right, to the public sale. And feel free to also join it and support it if you're interested to build Norris Protocol, right, together as a community member. The next question is we talk about validator. Right? Can regular users participate in the validator system? What are the requirements? Is it kind of like running a node? Because okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Actually, that's a very important part of our ecosystem that we have kept quiet about. We have an intention of doing also a node sale. These are going to be, there's two kinds of nodes in Norris Protocol. Norris Protocol can operate at software and at hardware level. So for more resilient validations that are at post-quantum level, actually they will be mainly run in the future by physical nodes. We have sold a number of nodes to partners like very large cloud companies, some very large Web3 infrastructure partners in a private setting for now. We're going to make that public, I would say, in the next couple of months. And then from a validation perspective with software, yes, there are going to be software-driven nodes as well. Right now, we have close to, well, going maybe in the next 3 weeks into 1 million nodes that are currently running it by the people. These are what we call light nodes. So these are nodes that are actually supporting the infrastructure from what we call swarm AI, which is decentralized AI perspective that kind of like analyzes risks and then shares it with others in other principles. But from a traditional validation structure, we'll make those nodes available in due course. So that should be, again, before our mainnet.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing the answer with us. And those are some very important questions from our audience. And here's one more, and this one's also really interesting. So people ask, after the public sale, are there any listing plans that you could share with us?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can only share that so much, but after the public sale, we're going to go to TGE, and at TGE time, then we'll be listing on a number of exchanges that will be known to you. Most of them, or the majority, all of them, I think you will know. They're very well-known exchanges. So that's currently our plan. And as people participate in the public sale, there will be kind of like they will be automatically whitelisted to have more, how can I say, benefits as they run nodes or as they participate as validators, for example, in decentralized trust infrastructures like the one that Moonlight was sharing in the screen. So just have that in mind. We're going to turn these people into some kind of like VIPs on Nars protocol as early adopters, because that's like super important for us.
Got it. That's really nice. Thank you. And friends, pay attention to that, right? Because Norse Protocol is an unusual project and they are well planned. Also, they got a lot of strong back, right? I saw on their website they are backed by the best key investors, right? And also endorsed by many business or tech, well, very important figures, right, in these areas. Yeah, certainly give them a follow so you won't miss it. And at the end of our AMA session, we'd like to ask David, do you have any additional information that you would like to share with our audience and we haven't covered yet? Thank you.
Well, really, what I would like to share is, just jump in, join Nourish Protocol as we ensure that the backbone of the internet remains secure, scalable, and ready for the quantum era, and the same for Web3, so that when quantum computers arrive, which is going to be very soon, the whole Web3 is already one step ahead, and you're part of that. And just guys, stay safe, stay sovereign, and stay quantum, and see you next time.
Nice. Yes, stay quantum. I like that. See you next time. Thank you so much, David, for joining us today. I'm going to share the Binderside front page screenshot to your project team so you all can share it on on socials as well. Bye.
Awesome.
Have a great rest
Thank
of the
you.
day. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Wow. I am going to share the banner to everyone. This is a very condensed session, right? We have learned a lot about decentralized cybersecurity and also get to know there's something called these. I'm going to go to the website over here, right? Decentralized post quantum infrastructure. And friends, the website, you really should explore it because this is just so cool. And I wanted to share my screen once again. Right? Did you see that? These are, yeah, they're investors and they are from big teams. And also, you see the famous tech and business leaders also endorse their project. Norris Protocol. Don't miss that. This is a gem. Friends, I have to tell you, this is definitely a gem. And look at all the data over here. First in production, post quantum blockchain. This is their statistics from the testnet. And they launch it at the end of this year. So many transactions already. And you definitely need to go to the Explorer to check their data because that's another thing. That's another new thing, right, that we are seeing today. So go to the Explorer, the Norris Portal Blockchain Explorer testnet, and then click on a random transaction detail over here. And then you are able to see more. Yeah, because I opened so many pages, so you need to wait for me. Yeah, wait for me. I've opened like 20 different pages, and also this is Norris Protocol's link tree. You can find their website, X, Discord, Telegram, linking, Galaxy Quest. Oh, they also got a lot of giveaway. 30,000 Norris giveaway. And they have different they have blogs, white paper, also other important links. Oh, T-Mobile, T-Challenge winner. Yeah, 2 years ago, they were a winner at the T-Mobile T-Challenge. They also had IBM collaborations. Nice. Don't miss it, everyone. Don't miss this jam. And let's continue to explore. Yeah, post-quantum transactions, NARS for the users. Oh, this is up to date. This is up to date. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. I like it. Friends, go check it out. Go check their websites, norrisprotocol.com. You're not going to be disappointed. You're going to be amazed because I am amazed myself during this AMA session. Previously, I had basically zero knowledge at all about what exactly the post quantum, right? Decentralized post quantum solutions. But now get to learn about it. So this is kind of like Decentralized Cybersecurity 101. It's a great, great session for everyone. So if you miss any part of the session, feel free to come back and watch it. We are going to save this AMA recording. Right? Definitely need to save the recording and run a replay. Let's go. And I'm going to play some music to wrap this up. Everyone, go to Twitter and give them a follow. The Twitter handle is over here. Norris Protocol, NAORISPROTOCOL. NRSPROTOCOL. Just go to Twitter and give them a follow. You're going to love it. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. I'm Moonlight. I'm done hosting this Binance Live session. See you next time. Thank you.